Hello, homeschool homies. It's me, Melissa, and I am here with the incredible Kinzers, John and Marcy Kinzer, and they are the directors of Rio Grande Enrichment Studies, Regis, RGS. There's a lot of little nicknames, but this is an amazing program that my family has been a part of for the last, I think, 3 years now. My kids have done it. It's an enrichment program that is here in Albuquerque, and as a parent, I've loved this program. I have really seen it just challenge my kids in ways that I can't really do in the classroom at home. It's really taught them to be independent learners, to get to do things that, in front of a classroom setting and kind of get familiar with being in a classroom setting, to get to be challenged in different ways. And it's just been such a blessing to have my kids part of this program. So we're going to talk about this amazing program today. And we're going to just start off with, what is Regis? What is RGS?
Would you like to take that?
Sure.
Marcy's good at explaining. So
Well,
she's the brains behind it.
We envisioned this program 26 years ago, and our idea was that as we saw people like the option of homeschooling, but then as their children got older, it became harder and harder and became more of a full-time job, and they might not want to full-time be a teacher. So we thought, how can we come along as teachers to help people take the load off of the academic, informational part and teach the content subjects while they still have the family environment and the flexibility of homeschooling. So we thought this is a partnership with the family, where we provide the instruction, especially as the kids are older, and the content is more dense. We provide the instruction, and then the parents supervise that the student is doing the work well at home that we give them.
Yeah, I want to add just a thing, because that's very true. And we heard, we began the program in 1994 in Rio Rancho, where we lived. And the big thrust was we had our own kids who were in 3rd grade, 5th grade, I think, were the 2 years that we started. And I'm a teacher. I was teaching at Hope High School at the time, and Melissa was actually at Hope, not kind of around that time.
At the same time,
so, but
he doesn't hold it against me.
That's right. That's right. She was a great student, so I heard many good things about Melissa. So, but we wanted we were teachers. We wanted to homeschool. We liked the idea of homeschooling. We wanted to have our kids have a Christian, biblical worldview built that would help them understand history and literature and science from a biblical standpoint. We wanted our kids to have friendships with other kids. So we thought, could we start a program where we did a 1-day-a-week class, and they could get to know other kids and have interaction with kids? And would homeschoolers appreciate that? Would they be looking for something like that? We had no idea. So we started it out. Marcy, who I mentioned already, is the brains behind this outfit. She started the first class in 1994. We had 12 kids. 2 of them were Kinzers, so our kids were in there. And we taught history, science, and literature, which we considered the 3 core classes. In that, they weren't skill-oriented. They were very thought-provoking, worldview type classes, idea classes, philosophy type classes. And so we launched that, and we tweaked it as we went. And the next year, all 12 kids wanted to come back. Even our kids wanted to come back. That was amazing. And that was the year I resigned over at Hope to do it full time. So the second year, I became a teacher as well. And so it just kind of grew from that. But I think the 2 things that we hear from people so often is that they appreciate that their kids get to know other Christian kids, and they really appreciate that they've got someone else teaching some of those core classes, the science, the history, the literature, that require more preparation and more writing and some of these skills that
sometimes even like more
good.
Background knowledge.
More background knowledge.
Things that parents wouldn't always feel equipped to teach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is not a school. This is an enrichment program. So your guys' heart and goal is to come alongside those families
Yes.
and just offer some support in teaching some of those harder subjects or more detailed subjects.
Right.
So it's not a school. It's still homeschooling, but their kids, the kids get to go and they get to take these classes that are really fantastic. Like my kids love it. They do, they love the books, they love the history, they love the science, the projects. And it's been a huge help to me, especially having multiple kids, to kind of free me up to teach like the younger ones a little bit more focused and allow my older ones an opportunity to excel or to, just learn differently, to learn from other people as well. I think that's a huge thing. And like we've been talking about a lot in Homeschool Homies is you don't have to homeschool alone. Like you're not in this alone. You don't have to teach everything by yourself. There are many resources like this program to help come alongside you so that you can successfully homeschool your kids.
Mhm.
So speaking of that, what does Regis offer? What kind of programming or classes do you guys offer?
So we offer 3rd through 5th grade class that teaches, again, the history, the science, and the literature. And we also always put an emphasis on speaking and writing skills. And so reading comprehension as well. And so they'll have literary classics at a children's level and those other subjects taught. So the parent at home would have to make sure that they have grammar and math in addition, but we do biblical integration. Of course, they could do some more of that at home, and we would encourage that. And penmanship at home for practice for those younger kids, but we hold a standard of excellence, and that's probably one of the ways we come alongside to help, is because sometimes as a parent it's hard to hold that standard of excellence. So we hold a high standard. They have assignments to do, so they get the content, all the content they need to know in those subjects. We teach them, but they go home and they have assignments to do, and that's where the parent part comes in, as they're supervising and helping that child in the organization and in their actually doing their the kids are in all different levels, so actually even helping them with writing that sentence and whatever they need to do to get it going. But we provide all kind of that structure, foundation, guidance for the family and tell them exactly what they need to do. So mid-high, same concept, higher level, 6th through 8th grade. Again, those 3 subjects in a 1-day-a-week classroom that we deliver. And then in high school, we do individual subjects on let me back up one second. Mid-high and elementary are on a 3-year rotational cycle. So it doesn't matter if what age they are, they're all doing the same subjects each year.
And you do level
topics, I guess. The expectation on the assignments is what's level.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So there's like some different assignments are more expected out of like an 8th grader versus a 6th grader.
Very much different.
But same content.
Same content. And so then in high school we have a 4-year rotational cycle with the difference. Actually, mostly a 4-year rotational cycle, and the website goes into this in more detail. So let's say as opposed to a typical school where all your 9th graders would be doing English Lit, whatever we're teaching this year, all the 9th through 12th graders will be doing, but if they're in their 4 years, they'll get all the different topics or subjects.
Right. So basically in high school, it's also geared so that each class counts as a full credit toward graduation for the New Mexico requirements. New Mexico requires 25 credit hours, or actually just credits, for graduation. So Marcy referred to a 4-year cycle. So if a student took literature this year as a 9th grader, they'd have a different literature as a 10th, a different literature as an 11th, and a different literature as a 12th. So there's a 4-year cycling of the courses. So they would actually have an ability to get all 4 years, all 4 credits of high school literature. We do the same thing with science, where we have that same rotation, and we do the same thing with history. So history, modern history is this year. Next year will be American history. Next year, government and economics. Next year, ancient history. So there's that 4-year cycle. So the idea is students can pick and choose what classes they'd like to. Some students want the history, some want the literature. Probably most of the students pick all 3, science, history, and literature. But it's kind of a pick and choose because students are different. We want to honor that, and we want to help families supply all the credits that they need. Then finally, we offer elective classes as well. We have all the math classes in high school. We also offer automotive mechanics, and we offer drama classes. Although there's a lot of drama in high school. Anyway,
Yeah.
we
So
actually
they
have a class.
have an additional class that they can get a credit for.
They can get a credit for the drama. So anyway, we offer these yearbook. We've offered PE, art. We've offered just many New Mexico history. We have history and science electives. We also offer electronics. We offer rocketry. So various subjects are offered each year. If you go to our website, which is www.rgesnm.com, you can see the subjects offered this year. And there's no, each year they change. We go through that rotation. So if you see something you like, it's likely not going to be there next year. We're on that rotation. And so you may want to jump, like at New Mexico history. That's a great class to take. It's a half year. It's a half credit that you're required to have in high school. And or there might be a science or a literature class. So it's kind of like I said, a lot of kids just take one class. Probably most take all three.
So there's more flexibility with high school, whereas the elementary program and the middle school program are kind of bundled together.
Right.
Okay. So you guys are kind of transitioning to a new model this year. You want to explain kind of what Regis is going to look like this year? It's going to look a little bit different.
Yeah, so we are COVID challenged, as is everybody else. And because of that, we have shifted. We, of course, a lot of people have made the same shift this last year. And so we've been experimenting in this direction for the last couple of years, giving more and more of our content with a videotaping that is, it has been posted up on YouTube actually, but it will be posted just on our website, and people will get access by a password. And so the content will be, in other words, what would take the place of the lecture in the classroom, where the kids will take notes and we go into really the detail of the content. That is being delivered in mid-high and high school, and all the electives for which it's appropriate this year. And then in addition, we will have a Zoom meeting in high school
and
in middle school every week, once a week, and in high school once every other week, that will allow us to have discussions, the kids to connect with one another, connect with us, and we can keep really good tabs on everybody understanding what they need, any additional explanations, that kind of thing. So we've been moving in that direction, and this year is the full launch in this new direction for all high school.
Virtual classrooms.
Virtual classrooms.
For mid-high and high school.
And high school.
So what about elementary?
And elementary is still going to be done as a once a week in class or on-site program because the number of students are small. We think that we'll be able to do it all year just with social distancing in the classroom. And our teacher was able to work well with that last year. If we have to close down completely, she is able to do that also with Zoom. But you know, they need a lot more interaction. It's a lot more skill oriented. So we're hoping to keep that as an on-site program.
And then some of your electives for high school will still be in person, like
and the reason
probably auto mechanics or
all the hands-on ones.
Yeah.
Which we have right now. We'll have the art, we have the auto mechanics, and we have theater, which are planned on being, because they're so hands-on.
Yeah.
They will still be done on site.
But those are smaller classes.
Very small classes. And again, if the governor decides that we have to do something different, all our teachers have plans on how to make that work if they need to.
And then I think she might not have mentioned that there's a graded option where we do all the grading. So even though it's online, students are bringing their work in and we're getting things graded and getting the work out to them on drop-off pickup days. They're at Hoffmantown. So every 2 weeks there's a drop-off pickup. Very quick, very easy, which we have really pioneered in that area. And
it's been very seamless. Yeah.
Melissa had a seamless transition.
It was easy. They had it well organized.
Yeah, she just took one hand out the window,
That's right.
and got it, and then
dropped off, picked up,
and she's
on
out
my
of
way.
So she did it on the way to the store,
Yeah,
I think.
it was
So-
seamless. You guys did a great job.
So we'll have those days, and then that way there's a lot of accountability for
Yeah.
the student to get their work in and not get behind. That's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, when you're on your own all during the week, it's good to have deadlines. So
And good to have
parents,
accountability.
yeah, it's good to have
For parents and
schedules.
students.
It's good to have
Yeah.
schedules. So just in general,
Mhm.
Melissa, I know agrees, and as we do, that if you can set a good schedule for your student, you really up your chance for good success in homeschooling. You can't just be flexible all the time. You have to have that
You
scheduled
need to have some structure.
study time, have some structure to it.
So there's going to be a graded option and a non-graded option, correct?
Mhm.
So
Right.
the graded option will be a little bit more tuition-wise because you're paying them to grade all your papers, which is totally worth the money. But then there's also going to be a non-graded option as well. So if you're just wanting the content, you know, like you're wanting someone to kind of do the lectures, teach these subjects that maybe you don't feel comfortable with, but you're fine with grading, then that's going to be an option as well, which is
Yeah.
new this year.
And there's a parent handbook that goes with that non-graded option. So you have a key to
Yeah,
grade all the
Kind of like a
papers.
guideline on what to
You
look
have
for.
the test answers. You have the quiz answers. So it's in a keyed thing that you can download.
So you're not having to
Yeah.
just like look up all this
Right,
stuff. Like they're
right.
they're
So
going to help you even with that.
You
Look
can
at
do
this.
it.
It's
You can do
amazing.
this. You can
But
do it.
wait, there's more.
But let me just mention the Zoom option will be for the graded
Only.
students only.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So if you're wanting those
we're
discussion
pretty
times.
hands off. If you sign up for the non-graded, it means you get access to the videos and the parent gets test quizzes and keys and some advice on how to grade subjective
Okay,
information.
good to know. All right. So speaking of parents, what does parent involvement look like for Regis?
Do you want to?
Oh, well, I can say a few things. You fill in what I leave out, but parent involvement means that you are just setting a schedule, setting the times so that your student can get the work done. They can watch the video, they can review their work, they can make corrections on their papers as they get papers back. They need to correct them. And you just oversee, you monitor making sure all of that gets done in your program. And then I think where homeschooling can break down is where parents have too loose a hand and you aren't really watching what's going on with your kids. You've delegated all of the work to them, and some kids do well with that. Some kids are ready for that, particularly juniors and seniors are ready for that in the high school. But you have to be careful because kids can get behind, and so it's something you want to keep on top of. So that's really the big thing with our classes. You don't do the teaching. You just make sure that your kids have their work done and that they're moving ahead.
Yeah.
With their
And so
assignments.
let me add a couple things to that. One is it's important to know that because we only have contact with your student once a week or twice a week, well, really now in the new form, once a week, really. And we're collecting the material and we're giving them feedback back through their grades. We're not a 5-day-a-week program. We don't have your kids 6 days for 5 days a week like a school would be. And so this parental involvement is really the only way it works. It is a partnership, which means that as the student does the assignment, where our program fails is when a parent just says, hey, my kid's in Rio Grande Enrichment Studies, and so I've just signed them off. And then they are only in touch with them at the end of the quarter when they get a report card. That will not work.
Yeah.
It works for the family who has every week involvement and is helping with the skill levels, especially in the younger grades, because it's a 3rd through 5th grade combination. So you have to be alongside to help the kid to do the skills or need the support as they do the skills to finish the assignments.
Yeah.
When they're older, they need the accountability that every week it passes by mom or dad. Okay,
Right.
so
And
but we take the heavy lifting.
Yes. Well, and I can attest to like the workload for the parent is not overwhelming. Like I'm still in charge of some other subjects. So like we still need to do math. We still need to do, maybe some grammar work. We need to do, like whatever other subjects we want to add in doesn't necessarily get covered. We've only done the middle school program, but my job really is to kind of sit with my kid, when she's learning how to write a paper, I sit with her, I help her do that, I help her make corrections, I help her study. But I'm, like they said, I'm not in charge of like the teaching of like the history or the teaching of the science or the teaching of the literature. I'm there to facilitate making sure the assignments get done and helping them understand the assignments, but they come alongside me and they're teaching that hard stuff that maybe I don't feel comfortable with or I don't have time for because I have younger children to homeschool as well. So, you know, it's me just kind of checking in like, hey, how are you doing on your vocabulary? Okay, do you need help with this word? Okay, let me help you. Oh, hey, let's look at your paper. So it's not hands off, but it's not like all hands on deck either.
In fact, let me just add to that. The only other way the program really is not a good fit is for the family where the parent really, really wants to be teaching that subject.
Yeah.
Because if they're teaching the history, for instance, and they're viewing us as just supplemental, that won't work either because we have a robust academic program, a demanding, not impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, normal students, like, you know, people, a wide range of students,
My kids
all
can do
succeed, all succeed in this program. And we have a lot of years of experience with a wide variety of students. So they can succeed, but it is robust. So it's not to be viewed as just something on the side.
Yeah, you don't need to do more.
Program.
You don't need to add more history. You don't need to add more science. You don't need to add more literature. I promise you, as a parent who has had kids in this program, it is more than enough. And it's more than even honestly that I would be able to offer because they are reading books that I never read when I was that age. And so the exposure to the content is quite amazing. And my kids teach me a lot through it as well. So it really is strong academically, even though they are only meeting once a week.
Yeah, and I might just add one thing too. Each week, you get an assignment sheet, a homework sheet that lists all of the assignments, and we send that to you through, on email. And it's important as a parent that you read the parent section. There's a little parent section on there, and each week you ought to read those because those are things, upcoming events, upcoming things that are important to know. Sometimes parents will not read those things, and they
I might be guilty.
get caught, surprised by things that we've been saying all along, but they didn't get. They were just trusting that their kids would tell them all those things. So anyway,
Don't be me.
Yeah.
I will say that if you are thinking about homeschooling or if you are homeschooling, we have found the program, to be honest, to be very, very helpful for a lot of families to offer a quality of education. And even to provide a standard, even when I had my own children. It was amazing what happens when you come in and put that teacher hat on. There's a little bit of an authority, and so you don't have that
that power struggle.
That power struggle. That's the exact word I was looking for. Thank you.
Because the kids are accountable to someone else.
And then, and one last thing I would say is that we work with we are, because we say we're a partnership with the homeschool family. If your student has individual needs and struggles, we're also very able and have always been very flexible. So if your student is a slow reader, if your student has difficulties with the writing skill, if your children needs things adjusted a little, we ask parents not to just arbitrarily let the student be in the driver's seat with that. But if there are real concerns for you as your family and your student as you're trying to help them get educated, we're small enough, we're very able to be flexible, and we want to be.
Yeah.
That's part of what we do.
I think you guys have done a great job with that. And we as a family, we love this program, and we love the Kinzers, and we love the resource that you guys have made available through your years of experience. I mean, I would never be able to get my kids through Ivanhoe or, on my own, but my kids read Ivanhoe because of them.
In mid-high.
In mid-high. My kids love Shakespeare because of them. Because of this guy really loves Shakespeare. But these are the things that my kids were excited about and they were exposed to, and it's not something that I would necessarily be able to do in my own classroom with, the situation that we have with multiple kids in multiple grades. So this is a fantastic resource if you're new to homeschooling or you're even old to homeschooling and you just want something new to challenge your kids. I encourage you to go online, check out Regis, go to the website, we'll have it posted, and you guys will probably be having some more content up on the website, more videos. More information coming too, especially as they transition to this new model. But if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. We'll be happy to answer. Reach out to me as a parent if you have more questions, or you can email the Kinzers as well. We just want to thank you guys for your time, for sharing this space with us, and just giving so freely of yourselves for all these years. You guys have been a huge resource to the homeschooling community for many, many years, and I know many families have been blessed by just your perseverance to come alongside the family and encourage them in their journey to homeschool. So thank you guys so much for meeting with us. So all right, homies, we'll see you later. Bye.